Alrighty, yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. DDG94 here, back with another reaction video. Today, we finna react to some Andy Hoops, man. Andy Hoops. Meet the 2008 draft class, a gold mine of longevity. I remember this draft class. This is the draft class that consists of Derrick Rose, Russell Westbrook, Serge Ibaka, JaVale McGee, DeAndre Jordan. Oh man, there's so many characters in this draft class. So many characters. It should be a good one though. Without further ado, let's get right into it.
Over 16 years later, the 2008 NBA draft class is a classic example of a group of players who've redefined the meaning of longevity. Unlike the ever so unfortunate 2010 class, which, as of this video, only has 2 players remaining, Paul George and Gordon Hayward. The 2008 class, on the other hand, is still flush with players who are still making an impact. After so many years of being in the NBA, they've still somehow managed to carve out a role for themselves, and still contribute to their teams in a meaningful way. It's rare for a single draft class to produce so many players with the drive and motivation to keep chugging along in the twilight years of their careers. How's it going, folks? My name's Andy, and today let's take a look at the persistent, resilient 2008 NBA draft class. A class where so many stars and role players alike have proven time after time they still belong.
Oh yeah, NBA. Kevin Love. How can I forget Kevin Love?
Here's a fun fact. There are 10 players from the 2008 draft class who have played at least one game in 2024. That's more than the 2009 and 2010 draft classes combined. What's even more impressive is that 5 of these active players came from the top 7 picks of that draft. I remember a while back, we used to criticize this draft for having several busts near the top, in particular Michael Beasley and OJ Mayo. The two of them left a black mark on an otherwise fantastic class. So how were these 10 current?
I don't know about Michael Beasley. Michael Beasley, from what I've seen, he can hoop. I just don't think they gave him the opportunity to prove himself. And OJ Mayo, he started to come along, but injury started fucking him over.
Currently active players able to maintain their productivity despite being years past their prime. Let's take a look at their twilight years.
You've had a career year so far. You led this Bulls team to the best record. You are the youngest MVP in NBA history.
What better way to start off this video than with the youngest MVP in NBA history? To say Derrick Rose's career was a roller coaster, it's inaccurate. It was more of like a free fall. But when he reached rock bottom, he climbed his way back up. When Derrick Rose suffered that ACL injury, and then several other knee injuries afterwards, the chances of him returning back to his superstar form became near zero. However, you can tell the talent, the motivation, the hunger was still there. When he dropped a new career-high 50 points as a member of the Timberwolves, it became a stark reminder of the player he once was, and the player that's still inside of him.
Facts.
That was back in 2018. Fast forward 6 years later, and Rose took on a new challenge. The young Grizzlies had seen some success, with multiple 50-plus win seasons. Yet, it was their myriad of attitude problems and unhinged trash talk that needed to be addressed. In particular, Ja Morant was a loose cannon, and the Grizzlies needed a voice to get through to him. Rose is well respected within NBA circles, and a ton of young guards today, including Morant, looked up to him growing up. They see him as their idol, their favorite player, so Morant is willing to listen to Rose. The Grizzlies put an emphasis on signing veterans to be the vocal leaders in the locker room, and Rose has fulfilled his role perfectly, even if he doesn't put up the same numbers he used to. Desmond Bain once said, "Rose has been everything as advertised, ultimate professional. Anytime he speaks, his words hold weight." You can assume, even with all the Grizzlies' injuries, Rose has been the driving factor in changing the culture in Memphis. Russell Westbrook. the 4th pick of the draft.
Yes, sir!
Despite some failed experiences with certain teams, he's still making the most of his last few years. On the Clippers, for the first time, he's willing to come off the bench and still provide some value. No longer being the primary option, Westbrook can spend his energy on other parts of his game, his rebounding, his playmaking, and defense. Despite his age, few players in the NBA can come off the bench and provide an instant boost of energy to his team. More importantly, being around players, friends who support him, and a coach who helps maximize his production, it's been a lot better for him. The most surprising thing is, Westbrook has still maintained most of his athleticism. It's just he's now using it in different ways. Instead of doing everything for his team, he's filling in where he's needed most.
They say an apple a day keep the doctor away.
Would end early, just because of the way he played, his reckless athleticism. So the 2023-24 season has been the first time he registered a positive net rating since 2021 with the Washington Wizards. Not bad for a guy who many believed should have been out of the league already. Kevin Love, the 5th pick of the draft, and Westbrook's UCLA teammate. While he doesn't play as many minutes anymore, in the few minutes he does play, his skill set can change the game. We saw it briefly in the 2023 finals. When Aaron Gordon was bullying all the smaller guys on the Heat, Eric Spoelstra inserted Kevin Love into the starting lineup, and that was enough to prevent Gordon from getting so many easy points. Love is strong and sturdy, yet he also has a refined three-point shot, which is crucial for their spacing, so that skill set is valuable to have. Like many other vets from this class, Love provides a respected voice in the locker room that people listen to. He has accomplished more throughout his career than most players on this roster, and it hasn't been easy. Going from missing the playoffs every year in Minnesota to being the scapegoat on the Cavs whenever they lost. Love had a roller coaster of a career, but he's still making the most of it. Danilo Gallinari was the 6th pick. To say that he's still active is a bit generous, I guess, but he's still on a team. Throughout his long career, he's been a major contributor to several playoff teams. You might remember him when he stripped Joel Embiid to cap off the Hawks' Game 7 victory.
On him. Spins, lost the handle. Gallinari got a piece. Up is Gallinari. Down it goes.
You know you trash when you getting stripped by Gallinari. You know you trash.
A Philadelphia turnover, and the Atlanta Hawks taking the page out of Ben Simmons' book on the backside.
Or maybe it was his time on the Clippers or Thunder, where he was one of the leading scorers on a team that exceeded expectations. Oh, or if you're an OG, you remember him on the Knicks, where he was looking really good and became the primary piece in the trade package to receive Carmelo Anthony. In Denver, where we thought he had so much potential to become a star,
Giannis, how you get dunked on?
he got injured season after season. Yet even with all of his injuries, Gallinari
we ain't got to
bounced back
replay
after
it
each
now.
and every one of them. Perhaps his age finally caught up to him. As his last couple years fade away, it's clear he's no longer capable of producing at the same level.
No shit, duh.
The 7th pick, Eric Gordon.
Oh man,
Like Gallinari, in Gordon's early years, there was so much
I had high hopes for Eric Gordon, bro. Because what I seen when he was in college, bro. What I seen from Eric Gordon when he was in college, bro, I had really high hopes for him. I said that nigga might be cold as fuck in the NBA. Man, was that the biggest disappointment I've ever seen. Eric Gordon has been the biggest disappointment. This nigga has so much potential coming out of college, bro. Oh my god, the disappointment.
hope he could become a star. All the signs were there. He was a great shooter, even with his awkward form. He had great handles and speed, while being deceptively athletic. From the Clippers to New Orleans, Gordon was a prime candidate to be the next breakout star. Yet, just like Gallinari, it seemed like he always got injured. Years of rehab stunted his development, and by the time he arrived to Houston, Gordon basically became a three-point specialist.
Pretty much.
We give credit to Steph and Dame for popularizing long threes, but Gordon should also get credit too. Dude was launching them from like 30 feet out. It wasn't all
Nigga, you just said Eric Gordon should get credit for the three-point revolution. Get the fuck out of here. The fuck out of here.
Always like this though, Gordon used to take much fewer threes. About 1/3 of his shots came from 3. But as the years went by, that changed, as he started taking over 60% of his shots from 3. Even coming off the bench, Gordon has been a productive player for a long time. Brook Lopez. The 10th pick of the draft, unlike his peers, Brook experienced the biggest change in his playstyle among anyone from this class. He was originally a bruising back-to-the-basket post-up player. Then, as the league transitioned into the era of three-point shooting, Brook was forced to adapt. It seemingly happened overnight, too. In Brook's first 8 seasons in the NBA, he only attempted a total of 31 threes. In 8 seasons, 31 threes total. Yet in Brook's 9th season alone, he attempted 387 threes.
Yes, sir.
As the game evolved, so did he, and for the Milwaukee
Splash
Bucks,
Mountain.
he was exactly what they needed. A legitimate big man who could score down low, but also space the floor for Giannis. More impressively,
Splash
it's his
Mountain.
defense that did a complete 180. Back in the early days, even in college, Brook was known to be the offensive threat, while his brother, Robin, was always known for his defense. Brook, however, eventually became an all-defensive player, filling out the last weakness in his game to become a complete player. Even as his career comes to an end, he's still a starting caliber player due to his sheer size and skill set. A few spots later, at the 15th pick, his brother, Robin, got selected. While he did get released by the Bucks, he still played several games in 2024, so he still fits the video. Robin had always been under the shadow of his brother, but he had several stretches when he was a highly important member of his team. For example, back in Portland, during the LaMarcus Aldridge, Damian Lillard era, he was that team's starting center, and a crucial piece to their 50-plus win seasons. Robin wasn't the flashiest.
How? Explain to us how, bruh. How, bruh?
How? Hold on, bro. How?
Since when did Sideshow Bob ever be the most important piece on any fucking team he ever played on? Don't worry, I'll wait. I'll wait. When did Sideshow Bob ever become the most important player on any fucking team he's played on? Fuck out of here, dog.
But he did his job, and he had a nice looking hook shot. While he hasn't contributed much as his NBA career comes to an end, at least his brother isn't the only reason he's in the league. Thanasis? At the 18th pick, it's
JaVale McGee! Yes, sir!
What surprises me most is how
JaVale
long McGee
McGee
has
to
been
go.
in the NBA for. It feels like he's one of those players who you watched them when you were younger and thought, oh man, there's no way this guy would be in the NBA for much longer. He used to be the face of Shaqtin' a Fool. And when you think of him, you think of a clumsy center who can't really do anything except dunk the basketball. However, even at an older age, he still provides value as an energetic big man who's happy to just be out there on the floor. Through the 9 different teams he's played for, McGee gets along with his teammates wherever he goes, and always has a positive, upbeat attitude to lift the spirit of his team when things are rough. At the 25th pick, it's Nick Batum. Batum spent many years on the Blazers as a core piece of their playoff rosters. He's not too different than he is now. Batum was always a Swiss Army knife player. He filled in all the gaps those teams were missing. A jack of all trades, above average in a lot of aspects, but master of none. Batum was an elite role player, but apparently not everyone thought so. Some folks believed he could elevate his game even further. Hence why the Charlotte Hornets paid him a ludicrous amount of money. This was back in 2016, when,
This nigga been averaging like 10 points a game ever since, bro. This nigga been averaging like 10 points a game ever since he got that fucking contract, bro. You would at least expect him to go up to at least like 15, 17, at least 16 points. 16 points a game would have been very decent. That would have made him a really good, solid role player. The fact this nigga been averaging 10, 12, 11 points per game, don't get me wrong. On the defensive end, he's very fucking useful on the defensive end. He's always been a great defender. But offensively, it's like one game he can give you 5 threes in a row. Then the next game, this nigga probably didn't make like 1 or 2 shots the whole game. That's just how inconsistent this nigga is.
A bunch of players became free agents and earned an enormous payday, and Batum's contract wasn't even the worst of it. Unfortunately, that's what a lot of folks remember him for, as an overpaid role player. However, even towards the latter half of his career, he's still making an impact in limited minutes. You can tell from the play-in game between the Sixers and Heat. Batum basically single-handedly carried them to the win with his late-game heroics. His three-point shooting and suffocating perimeter defense are still present after
and he ain't do shit when they faced the Knicks
all these years. And finally, the last player still remaining from the 2008 draft is none other than DeAndre Jordan, a champion and locker room leader for the Denver Nuggets. Even if he doesn't get much playing time anymore, the Denver Brass has cited his role as instrumental in guiding the Nuggets to become champions. Jordan has been an inspirational voice and became the mentor for the Nuggets' young big men. Don't forget, DeAndre Jordan accomplished quite a lot over the years, multiple All-NBA and All-Defense nominations, an anchor for the Clippers for so many years. While his last few years on the court will ultimately be forgotten, what won't be forgotten
I appreciate
is
these
his
Bucks
importance to
dunks,
a
bro.
thriving Nuggets team looking to establish a dynasty. Those are the 10 players remaining, but it's not just those guys either. There were plenty of other guys from this class who became staples across the NBA landscape. For example, Goran Dragic, Roy Hibbert, Ryan Anderson,
Trash.
George Hill,
Trash.
Omer Asik,
Trash.
Courtney Lee,
He was
Usman
alright.
Mahmoud, and Serge Ibaka.
Alright, I'll give y'all those last
for
3.
a decade in the NBA and had influential roles on various playoff teams and contenders. Even the role players from this class had such great longevity, with memorable names that made their mark on history.
Who?
2008 was a draft that produced so many long, illustrious careers. One of the most successful classes in modern history in terms of depth and top-tier talent. It was certainly one of a kind. Anyway, that's all, folks. Those were the last remnants of one of the greatest draft classes in history. What are your thoughts on the play?
One of the greatest.
The fuck is he talking about?
Players from this class. When the draft happened, did you expect this class to have so many players last this long? Especially with so many of them suffering injuries earlier on. How do you think this compares to 2009 or even 2003? Let me know your thoughts. Thank you all so much for watching. I
don't know. I have to look at 2009. Let me look at 2009 real quick. They might have a case. 2009 NBA. They might have a case. Hold on. They might have a case. Let's see here. Blake Griffin, that's kind of tough. Hasheem Thabeet, trash. James Harden, Tyreek Evans, his Sacramento Kings days was his best years. Ricky Rubio, trash. Johnny Flynn, where the fuck he go? Steph Curry, come on now. DeMar DeRozan, Brandon Jennings, Drew Holiday, Trader, Ty Lawson, Jeff Teague, Darren Collison. Going down the list, Taj Gibson, Damari Carroll. Patrick Beverly. Danny Green. Patty Mills. I know, I say they on par. I say 2008, 2009 is on par with each other. But Steph Curry, but this class just having Steph Curry by himself, that kind of like shitting on the other class though. So I'm gonna have to put 2009 above 2008. But anyways though, that's just gonna about do it for this one, man. I will see you all in the next video. Till then, peace out.